And we'll do a few things here before we get into Chris Rios is going to talk about her top 5 dreamboats as coined by me in the last podcast, a dreamboat, which I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's very 50s. It's very Gidget.
It is.
He's
It's
dreamy.
like-
He's a dreamboat. So Chris is going to do that in a second.
Oh, and also,
Yes.
when we
Some
do
housekeeping, yes.
When we do that, I have to. My sister did the therapist. My sister Stacy.
I love that you have a therapist to check in on. You need that when you're a podcast sidekick.
She broke down your 5 coolest and like the psychology breakdown, and it's really just one.
They're all the same person? Mm-hmm. Oh, and it is me.
No, it's Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt is Billy Bob Thornton. Brad Pitt is George Clooney.
Brad Pitt and Billy Bob, same wife, Angelina Jolie.
Oh, okay. So it's actually 6 degrees of separation.
George Clooney, good friends, movies,
Right.
Ocean's 11, Robert Redford. They did Spy Games and
Right.
River Runs Through It. They were like, he was, Redford was the original Brad Pitt. They always put pictures of them together looking.
Well, that's interesting that they are all connected.
So,
but
you imitate him, and you do Brad Pitt. It's your favorite movie right now.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the current masterpiece that possesses me. Yes. I did add to that. I'm not quite sure where to start. Should I talk about your dreamboat or?
Whatever you want to do. Go.
Well,
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No.
interject.
We'll get to you in a second. These are quick ones.
Yes.
So Richard Branson went in kind of a rocket ship. He did it in kind of, if it could be a benign way. You take off in a nice little jet, you cruise to 40, 55,000. They release you, you free fall, and then there's a rocket, and you go up 50 miles.
To the
53
edge of
miles.
space. That's
Edge
what
of
it
space.
said.
There's lines called the Gagung line. He's at the lowest level that could be space.
Right.
And I liked the way he's doing it as far as a safety kind of thing. Bezos is, don't count him out, but the air's been let out of the balloon. Bezos is second. Hey, that was really good. Did you see Richard Branson? He did it too, and you did it. So first is first. No one knows about Buzz Aldrin. He was the second guy on the moon, which I was on a TV show with him once, and I said, did you ever think of making a beeline to the cockpit hatch and go down the ladder first? Because fuck it, it's for all time eternity. Like elbow Neil Armstrong out and just go down.
What did he say?
What did he say? Yeah, no, I didn't think about that.
Oh.
He said the minute you land on the moon, they ask you to take a nap to get rested. So I said, wait a minute. So you've landed on the moon, and they say, can you take a 4-hour nap in that crouched area? Oh, sure, slept like a dog. His pulse on takeoff, normally it's 150, even for cool astronauts. His was like 65. That's why his nickname is Buzz. He is cool.
What show were you on?
The Tom Green Show. Hello. Tom Green Show happened to have Buzz Aldrin on.
So
and
random.
I said to him, what if Neil Armstrong had gone down the ladder, disappeared beneath the sand? What would you have done then? I would have, called Houston. Okay. And what if then he reemerged 100 feet tall and said, I am the sun, I am the moon king. What would you have done? Seriously. He was pondering what he was supposed to do. I said, probably they would have ordered you to take a nap, right? Oh, yeah, I would have had to sleep first and then battle the Moon King man. Daddle? My mind is waking up. So Bezos, but look, Bezos is going to be on top of a bomb. He's going to be classic. You're leaning back. And all it is a controlled explosion. But a giant bomb is going to go off underneath Bezos. And he's going to launch in the old-fashioned way, not the new Richard Branson way. So I give him props for that. Right. And he's going to go 50 miles higher. But who cares? 250, 300 miles, what are you going to do? I
feel like Richard should have been the first one with, he does aviation. It's not like it's his first rodeo. Do you know what I mean? Like he has an airlines. He's been doing it for a long time.
Well, actually, Elon Musk beat both of them, although he didn't ride on the thing. The SpaceX is now the go-to thing. And going back to in my top 10 probably coolest actors is Tom Cruise, because he will hang off a plane. He will go into space.
Right.
He learned to swim underwater for like 6 minutes. So I don't know when it becomes like David Blaine and not really acting. I'm not sure, but I give him props as an actor.
Yeah, he really drives his car, the like stunt car.
His stunt double is drunk most of the day because he knows he's never going to be called to the set. Yeah, I'm ready anytime. No, Tom's going to jump out of the Tom's going to fly the helicopter in this thing. All right, okay, good. What are we going to do tomorrow? Well, you ain't going to be doing dick because he's going to be doing all of it. So that's a little inside baseball for y'all.
What you doing, Dana Carvey?
All right, well, now we're going to begin. This could be a start. We're going to start with Chris Rios' top 5 dreamboats, which was held over last week by popular demand. So here she is, Chris Rios, with her top 5 dreamboats. Okay. You want to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or?
Well, I was doing it more like old school.
What are their names?
Well, first
Number one?
Robert Redford.
No,
Super
wait a
dreamy.
minute. Number 1 is Robert Redford?
Yeah.
From which movie did you get this dream vibe?
Probably. Well, he was so cute in Barefoot in the Park.
So you're going back to 1965,
So dreamy.
Redford.
Yeah. And
What
then
is it his
Great
intelligence?
Gatsby.
Is it his perfect jaw, the teeth? What's the dream part?
He's just dreamy looking. He's just handsome. You said dreamy. There's no like cool or like and it's based on like his characters.
You know
right?
what? No, it's Dreamboat. Yeah,
And that
I got
jaw,
that. Yeah.
Sexy jaw.
Teeth,
Yeah.
hair,
Cute. Nice smile.
great highlights.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a natural.
I mean, he got a little wrinkly, but I like that he kind of didn't do anything. He didn't care that he just, sat in the sun. And
No, he was on a show once, and he said that when he was young, walking by, women would go, ah. And now he was 82 at the time. They go, ah. So yeah, he was in my list too because of that. Ah.
But I'm sure his personality is very nice, I would hope. So that would make him still dreamy.
I think,
even if he looked like a saddleback.
My wife likes him. I think he exudes a lot of intelligence. I think he got better. I think Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid is kind of where he exploded.
Yes,
with Paul
I loved
Newman.
I loved
That's
that
where
movie. And The Sting, I grew
Yeah.
up with that.
Mm-hmm.
And he does all this philanthropic
Okay.
things. That makes him even more dreamier.
Right. He does. What is his charity? Oh, he does Sundance and all that.
Like
Yeah.
He brought independent filming kind of to the limelight.
Okay, I get that. That's a pretty good choice. I thought it'd be more like Matt Damon or something.
Well, I'm going to go down. No, Matt Damon.
I was just guessing. Well, nothing.
Not dreamy.
I don't know. Not dreamy. Okay, let's call Mrs. Damon. Well, get her on the line, Dex, from Australia.
He has like a hot Italian wife, I think, or something.
I think. Yeah, he has a long-term marriage. He's become boring, which is good in this way.
When you,
like he
what do you
doesn't
mean?
tabloid. Well, Ben Affleck, no offense, but he's fascinating.
Yes.
What's going to happen?
Gotcha.
Where's he going? Oh my God!
Yeah.
So then they come by like moths to a
They
light.
just live their life, and
Yeah. So that's good.
Quietly.
Okay, number 2, Dreamboat, all time.
I'm going old school first. Cary Grant,
Cary Grant.
as you know.
I know, because your favorite movie is The Bishop's Wife.
Correct.
Yeah, black and white. Cary Grant.
And he's just so dapper and
Well, again, you're talking
stylish.
about when I look at movie stars. And I know I talked about Billy Bob Thornton, like they're leading men. We're like character actors. Movie stars have a movie star head. Cary Grant, which was a lot of pressure on him, he had a movie star head. He would swim 100 laps a day. He was super tan, always wore a tuxedo. And he had this incredibly weird voice. If people aren't aware of him, he literally in his movies, and I'm not really exaggerating, he talked like this. What do we do? Was the man with a gun? What was he wearing? Was he running toward you or away from you? I need to know now. I'm going to go to a cornfield and run away from a biplane because Mr. Alfred Hitchcock says it's part of the motion picture. But who's going to be flying the aeroplane when I run into the cornfield? You don't know. I wish I could use my stunt double, but nobody's as handsome as me, even with 100 feet away.
I have to climb Mount Rushmore.
I have to climb Mount Rushmore in that movie that I did. But he retired at 64. He said they just didn't, he played the leading man all the way through. Then he did one where he had a some scruff, and he's kind of playing the codger a little bit. It didn't do the box office. I wasn't clean shaven in the tuxedo. Nobody came to see it. And the older he got, the faster and more mumbly he got. He would talk completely fast like this. I didn't even know what I'm trying to do. I didn't know where I'm going. So people listening now are under 40.
Well, he married Diane Cannon. Didn't he marry her? They had a child together.
He married Diane Cannon and had a baby in his mid-60s. So in that way, he's on my coolest actor list of late fathering guys. I love it. I love that I'm 65 years older than my son, who's 7. There's a bit of an age gap.
Well, George Clooney would fall under that, right?
It's great. You kind of live this bachelor. I always say it's around 54, 55. The man about town, usually the testosterone lowers and they kind of go, I think I could lock in with one person now after 55 years of going all over the place, locking on apartment doors and having sex with 5 different women a day. I don't even know if he did that. But to my point, Warren Beatty, also around 55, 56. Now I'm ready to be a dad. My genetics and my body, my nature as a man, I could make a baby at 15, but I decided to wait 50 years until all that was out of my system, and now I'm father of the year.
Right.
And I will see my kids every other year. Really. So, okay, so we got those two. We got Redford number 1, Cary Grant number 2. Interesting choices.
Well, I wasn't going in order. It's more like
okay, a collage.
I have dreamy old old actors. This is
got
you're
it.
gonna like. All right. So third, this is the last of the old guys.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Cooper.
Really? That's
So
an interesting
dreamy.
choice.
Love in the Afternoon.
Because he was very tall, but he wasn't like considered a pretty boy.
No, he's
like
very handsome.
Cary Grant. God, it's really interesting how retro you go. How old are you? Can I see your driver's license? Okay, Cary
Those
Grant.
are old movies.
No, those are cool.
You know what? A man in a suit, nice hairstyle, good
there
jawline.
was something cool about Gary Cooper. He was the super strong silent type who barely sort of talked. Only talked a little bit. It's like Obama slowed down.
That's so good. You did.
I don't know what you're saying or what you're thinking of doing, but I don't think you ought to do it. I'm Gary Cooper. Cut. Gary, could you open it up a little bit? Maybe, no, this is how I do it. And I just talk like that. So, well, I could do it better than him. He's a wooden stiff. He's a mannequin with a head on top, yammering about, and I could get the bow. Now you're really going back. You're hitting all my impressions. Did you Wikipedia me? Okay, go ahead. Next.
Okay, now we're present day. Alexander Skarsgård.
Alexander Skarsgård. Okay.
Dreamy.
He was the
hot.
one. He was the
He
with
falls under
Nicole
that.
Kidman, and he was the wife-beating man.
Yes.
That was well. It doesn't mean he wasn't a brilliant actor unless
Right.
that's his real.
No, I doubt it. I would hope not.
So what? So he's like
True
super
Blood.
fit.
He's dreamy
And-
vampire.
Shirt comes off any chance he gets, which I was ripped. You know, guys who like live in a gym and have 3% body fat.
Yeah.
Hey man, the sun's out from behind the cloud, and then the shirt's off. No matter, you could be at a Macy's department store. So that guy always has his shirt off in a movie, right?
No.
Skarsgård. Has he ever kept his shirt on?
Yes.
Really? Which movie?
Melancholia or.
Jeez. That's called a stalker more than a fan. Come on, guy. Let's put the show on again. No, I get that he has this. He's just again tall, good-looking, charismatic. I
Yeah.
guess you know.
But he plays so many different roles, so I think he's pretty diverse in his acting.
Yeah.
But
And
dreamy. He's dreamy.
He's dreamy. Does he qualify for a dreamboat?
Yeah.
A dreamboat means a dreamy guy that you get to take a ride with, right?
Oh, is that what it means?
I just made it up. I don't know.
You get to take a boat ride. You get to go on a rowboat.
Okay, who's out? Who else you got?
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. It's a good plan. It's a good idea.
I think he needs to come to the podcast now, since I think he's a dreamboat. You think
Yeah.
he's cool.
He's really.
He's our mascot.
What you doing, Dana Carvey?
So, all right. Well, I appreciate those. I was gonna to my coolest actor list, Kirk Russell. I kind of put him as a real because I forgot about Tombstone, where he beats up Billy Bob Thornton.
Right.
in the movie. You're
Oh,
gonna
right,
throw
right.
down, boy. He says so. Billy Bob Thornton is kind of fat in that movie, and he's playing the bully in the poker room, and Kurt.
Press that. I'm so sorry.
That's great. I love that. That
I
should.
never even had that sound.
That is awesome. That was an accident. It was like the room we're in ourselves. It felt haunted in these earphones, like mwah, 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 mwah. It's like it going no, canceled.
Oh, no.
God, so that was funny. Dex has a Rodecaster Pro with these buttons that do effects, and somehow
It's been a while since Tom Petty.
it's been a while. The Rodecaster is haunted today.
Yes.
We got a haunted Rodecaster. That's why we're using these. So we have
All
backup.
the mics broke for some reason.
All the mics exploded. They're the most reliable mics by Consumer Reports, but they exploded an hour ago. So Chris is having fun with this because she never did stand up. But the people, we don't want to get letters. Shut up, Brian. Probably the Shure mics exploded. That's why they're using these things. Like they explode a lot.
Lovitz came in here and like
And
sabotaged
did a
everything.
little whoppity do.
Okay, so my last.
Your last one? Oh, that was 4. Okay.
4.
Alex Skarsgård. Or
Alexander Skarsgård.
Alexander Skarsgård. Number.
Well, this was a
All right.
toss-up. It was
Okay.
a toss-up
You
between Ryan Gosling and Chris Hemsworth.
Those were the two that my wife and I talked about that we thought might be on your list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My sister, who really normally, she fancies young men, but not in a lascivious way. But she saw a Ryan Gosling movie, and I love when women always go, you got to admit. You got to admit, Dane, he's cute. Well, what do you mean I got to admit? Like I won't admit or I have a problem with that? You got to admit, Dane, he's cute. What? I admit it. Do I have to take an oath? You got to admit. No, those are good choices. That's our new favorite sound. That's better than, shut up, Brian. It was an accident. They didn't do it on
Maybe
purpose.
instead of what you doing, Dana.
What you doing, Dana Carvey? It should
wah,
be wah. Next topic. Okay, we can take a hint. We got you. I have a short list. Coolest rap for me from the 90s. Top 3. You Can't Touch This by MC Hammer. Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg. and Baby Got Back by, what's his name? Sir Mix-a-Lot. Those are the 3. I'm just saying, I came from the 60s and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and the Beatles. And then Dex and Tom, when we were driving them to school, I would put on A Day in the Life by the Beatles. You read the news today. So they would put on Snoop Dogg. That was the first time after I heard, I go, that's really clever. Snoop, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. If a cop pulls you over, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. And then... And I loved MC Hammer. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. I mean, I thought that was cool. I like big butts, and I cannot lie. That's a little bit like Lori saying, "Gotta admit it, Dane." So he likes them. He wants to lie, but he just can't. He wanted to keep it to himself, but I like big butts, and I cannot lie. That's brilliant. So that's when I first got into rap. What was the first Eminem song that exploded?
Oh.
Slim Shady? Real Slim Shady. So me being a comedian who deals in rhythms, chopping broccoli, I really appreciated all the rhythms of those guys. Too Legit to Quit, great.
Right.
Cannot Lie, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, Eminem. Yep. You know, please, Slim Shady. Please, Slim Shady. What is it, Slim Shady? Slim Shady, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. That's when I said to Tom, seriously, after hearing rap for a while and appreciating it, saying, I think if you gave me a year, gave me a button pusher engineer with all the buttons for tracks, and I was in a room for a year, I could beat those guys. I could do better rap than them. And not that I could, but the idea that I actually thought I could. Tom looked at me funny because they're just doing stand-up. Please stand up. Please stand up. I'm a stand-up. You're a stand-up. I mean, Slim Shady is so fucking catchy. Same with I like big butts and I can't, I see him, I get sprung. That's, whatever that meant. Yeah.
We put the auto-tune on and you sang and everything's perfect.
Well, yeah, I did a song. I did a song the other day. I was kind of trying to do a song with abstract lyrics with what Red Necky would do in a song, you know? Let me see if it even plays.
Take your time. This is up in a crazy.
Oh, no, that's something else. All right, here we go. Do. Okay.
Hot poker and a face full of rage. Everybody's got to get to this age. Stone-faced pony with a wallet in his head. Everybody says they wish you were dead. Hey, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? What are you looking at?
So anyway, that's Red Necky trying to go on for a top. Red Necky going for a top 20 hit. What are you looking at? Because really, when it comes down to it, it's an anthem and a catchphrase. What you looking at? What you looking at? You know, I just feel like I would love to do more music because it's all about catchphrases.
He's got to sing Come and Get Some.
Come and get some. Come and get some. Okay, well, we did your Dreamboats.
Okay.
Let's get Larry on the phone.
Let's do it.
I would have a half hour ago. I just forgot. Here you go. They're together under L, but it's the landline. Yeah, I made them more simple so they'd be together. What you looking at? What you looking at? I mean, I just noticed. I think James Brown was really the original genius. Come on, get on up. Like a sex machine, and then he repeats that for 10 minutes
Right.
without changing the lyrics barely. Get on up like a sex machine.
Yeah, that's true.
Get on up. So it is like, what you looking at?
Landline Larry.
Landline Larry, an analog man in a digital world.
Do your rotary phone for...
Well, we had our Shure mics exploded, which we tried to get Larry a setup with a Rodecaster Pro and a Shure mic. Ours exploded today, Larry. So we're using handheld mics like stand-up comedians.
Wow.
I know what it feels like for you guys now.
I know. This is it. Chris is having so much fun. Like she's like a open micer. Hi, I'm Chris Rios.
Don't you hate it when you go to the store and...
No, yours would all have to be hair people.
What you doing, Dana Carvey?
I got a phone call from Michael Caine that was just constructive. Data, the podcast is not happening. It's like cold tea. It's like fish with no chips. It's like milk gone sour. It's like you don't have an umbrella in a rainstorm. Goodbye. Sorry. That's all I got. So we should... a fish without the chips. We've invited Frank Cronin and Larry, and if Tom wants to come in, we want to talk about the McGregor fight. Do you have any thoughts on Richard Branson going into outer space?
Well, I wish he would have just kept Virgin Airlines flying rather than done that, but kind of cool, I guess.
I know. He had a great domestic airline called Virgin Airlines, which is...
That was your favorite airline.
Now
and
it's
then you
Oh, but there was nothing close domestically.
Now it's Alaska Air.
8 seats
I
in
know.
first class.
8 giant seats. First world problems.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to do his joke?
You ruined me, though. I could never fly again. Virgin was so nice.
I know. Darn.
See, everything in life you like, it's taken away from you. Meh.
Wah, 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 wah.
It was always better back in the day. Nowadays, everything's... I don't like the way the world is now compared to the way it used to be. In my day, you got to really watch that, thinking it was always better before. Because I have hey, we used to have 3 channels and everyone knew what everyone was watching. Okay, now we have an infinite amount of things to watch. Isn't that better? I liked it when it was 3 channels.
You know what's interesting that never stops and it just keeps going is men, when they're young and they're listening to the music they love, their dad will be like, this is horrible. This music,
Right.
This isn't music. My music's better. And then that same kid will grow up and tell their kid that this isn't music. My music's better. And
Well,
it
and
just keeps
even-
going. And you never have a dad go, this is really cool. I like
Well,
this.
what I saw up close was just old-fashioned men in the 60s hating long hairs, they called them. goddamn long hairs, the hippies, right? And that goddamn music. And then you'd see the same, these are like track coaches, like my dad and stuff, was kind of shaved around the ears. By the mid-'70s, they had droopy Frank Zappa mustaches. The hair was over their ear, and they're listening to the Beatles. So that was the one band that kind of got them. But in the 60s, like, goddamn long hairs. We were driving around Berkeley going to a track meet. Yeah, these long hairs. Can't stand these long hairs. 6 months later, it's way over his ear.
Yeah, didn't they think the Beatles haircuts were kind of hippie-like, or wasn't there an anti their hair?
It was very feminine at that point to have kind of shaggy hair with bangs, you know. But John Lennon said, well, our hair would just flop into our face no matter what. We couldn't even keep it back, so we had it in going forward. But that was considered feminine.
Did we give Tom this?
Yeah, for now, we can share this for our comments.
I'll be in the background.
All right, so
just address it.
we'll take a little break.
What you doing, Dana Carvey?
Joke of the week. Who should I introduce it as? Let's see, Larry.
Sean Connery.
We'll see what he.
Frank Sutton.
Frank Sutton. Now you listen to me, Larry. I got about enough of your jokes of the week. You drive me crazy, Larry. I'm telling you, you drive me crazy. Here's Larry Bubbles Brown with the joke of the week. I'm Frank Sutton from Gomer Pyle. Okay, go ahead.
I'm a very moral guy. I will not touch a married woman, and that's why my first wife left me.
So let's unpack that. So the guy marries someone, but he won't touch a married woman, so then she leaves him. So he can't figure out that in this case, the married woman is his wife.
Yes.
It's a low IQ individual.
Low IQ.
Okay. Comment, Chris?
Might have to. Maybe that better come up with a better joke.
No, your jokes are all awesome. We've got them all aggregated. We're releasing an album. We'll tell you when it's out, and we'll give you a percentage. We share the wealth here.
I just hope I make enough money to have Chris cut my hair.
Next time I'm in San
I've never had a good haircut in my entire life.
Well, she goes to San Francisco every couple months for her San Francisco clients. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and you could hook up to it. It's just a quick, easy trim. Larry,
I'll
you're not
fly
gonna,
her in on the Lear.
Larry's going to have sidewalls and a bouffant. All right, let's do. We now have Tom and Frank in the podcast studio, and I thought we would just, because Frank is from Ireland, Tom's a big fan of UFC. We're going to talk a little bit about the McGregor fight and the UFC fights from Saturday night. So take it away.
It was just so crazy. It was just wild.
It was good. I watched them, and I got into the drama of each story. It was pretty. It was very entertaining. It's intensely emotional, really.
Yeah, and every single one of the characters, every single one of the fighters has their own brand and their own. Like, one of them's drinking out of a boot. One of them's got green hair.
Yeah, no, I thought
Let's go break those down.
Yeah, basically, I thought the main event was kind of a letdown compared to how amazing the undercard was and the fights leading up to the main. Sean O'Malley versus Chris Mutino, I thought was kind of maybe the best fight.
Yeah, bro.
So that was the one with the kid with the bright green hair.
Yeah, he worked at a paint store and then took the fight on 11 days' notice. So it was his first fight ever in the UFC, and he was on the McGregor undercard.
The guy he was fighting was taller, seemed bigger, and really brilliant, right? He was fast.
Yeah, superstar.
And this house painter, had his hair dyed bright green, and he didn't move his head and led with his head for 3 rounds. And the guy just kept punching his face. I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah,
he kept coming forward with his fist apart and his head looking. So the guy was just bopping him. Tom?
Yeah, no, and then when the ref stopped it, he was still going. Like, it almost kind of was an early stoppage. Like, it seemed like it could have gone the distance.
It looked like Sean O'Malley was getting a little bit scared, and he's like the nest egg for the UFC for the future.
So the superstar was Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley was winning, and I think landed 200 punches on this guy's face, right?
Yeah.
But this guy was getting angrier, Larry. He was getting angrier, and he never stopped moving forward.
No.
And then he started unloading punches at a rate that was like, oh wait, maybe he has a chance of pulling this off.
And then, O'Malley, he was pretending to dribble a basketball in between punching the guy in the face.
Early on, he thought this tomato can's going to be out here in about. That's what they call him in the old days, right? He fought who's he fought? A bunch of tomato cans, right? That means like an easy opponent. So he thought he was going to knock him out within seconds, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, our first round. I mean, he looked like he was getting carried to his corner by the refs during the first round. Like they kind of had to show him where his corner was.
I heard that he trained by taking a full giant 2-gallon can of paint and just slamming it into his head over and over again. That was his only training. So he was used to it. I've had heavier paint cans than you, fuckface.
Yeah, it was funny though because he was losing so bad, but the fact he never gave up, everyone started like by round 2, people are like, I love this guy because he kept marching forward no matter what. Just like
definitely.
The biggest heart in the world.
Total heroic. Would love to have him on the podcast. All props to that guy. Very, very brave.
Yeah, no, Chris Mutino's the kid's name.
Chris Mutino's, shout out to him. All right, what's the next fight?
Then it was, you had Irene Aldana, the chick from Guadalajara, versus the Russian, Yana Kunitskaya.
Yeah, Yana Kunitskaya, whatever. Larry, she was, what people might say, she was drop dead gorgeous. She's like 5'10", blonde and Russian with a skimpy outfit on. She comes out wailing, and the Guadalajara woman is just laying back, and then what happens?
I mean, just the nastiest left hook, picture perfect destruction. It was vicious. It was maybe that was like one of the gnarliest beatdowns of the night.
It was weird because she's very pretty and she had makeup on, and I just thought maybe the Guatemalan person was saying, "I hit you so hard I knock your makeup off." So some of her makeup actually came off with the punch.
I knock your makeup off. That sounds like a Russian surname. I knock your makeup off.
I knock your makeup off.
My name is Irina. I knock your makeup off.
She had to call Putin. Putin is like, did you win fight for Mother Russia? No, she knocked my makeup off. Don't come home. So that was gnarly.
Yeah, 2 tough ladies.
It seems like the UFC always like whenever they try and prop up a Russian to be like to break into that market, they always just get knocked out like viciously.
But she came out wailing and fast and looked pretty good, doing kicks
And she smiled before and after the fight and throughout the fight. The Guadalajaran was never stressed.
She was cool.
Yeah.
She was never stressed. Even when she was getting punched, she's chilling. And the other person, she seemed a little more tense, a little nervous.
She was badass.
Yeah.
Larry, comment?
This is fascinating to me because this seems like it's so huge among younger people. I heard these people are making hundreds of millions of dollars, but I don't know why it got so popular.
Oh,
yeah, McGregor really did put on the sport for everyone. Like he made it. I didn't watch until McGregor was a thing, and then I became a fan of the sport.
Yeah, they started giving guys that had really a lot of charisma, a lot of promotion and marketing. And so someone like McGregor, who's like aesthetically, physically pretty much perfect, and then he speaks his mind, and then he's aggressive. So they started mixing WWE wrestling stuff with.
Well, for people who don't
cage
know,
fighting.
McGregor is a quintessential Irishman with a thick Irish accent and, kind of ginger features in a way. I mean, he's definitely like really Irish.
He's actually Scottish, I believe.
Really?
McGregor's a Scottish last name. Yeah.
Don't
Did he
you-
grow up in Ireland or did he grow up in Scotland?
He grew up in Ireland, but I
Oh.
think he is Scottish
Hey,
technically.
well, I'm Irish and Scottish, so I can own him either way. I in particular.
We'll claim him as Irish for sure. And then it doesn't hurt. Like I think it's 35 to 50 million people identify as Irish in the States. So it was easy for him to get a market.
And Larry, when I watched it, just for an insert here for a second, I was in awe of we watched on a big screen TV. There's so much. There's beautiful women. There's rappers in the audience and all kinds of celebrities. They had Travis Barker, tongue kissing, whatever, one of the Kardashians. They had colorful shots of Vegas and the arena. The whole thing was just like this really entertaining, colorful, dynamic thing. And then they really set up the emotion and the behind the scenes. And Joe Rogan is really good at being the fight announcer. He makes it really interesting. So I see why it took off.
Yeah, and then it also became more stand-up later on. It was a lot of wrestling in the early days, so it kind of turned people off of the sport because it was just like, oh, two dudes humping is MMA. Like I just watch boxing or kickboxing. But then they got better at defending the takedown. So now it's a lot more knockouts, it feels like, than the early days.
Yeah, people got so good they started getting artistic with their knockouts. And then they started making pairings that there was literally somebody that an expert could tee off on.
Well, one thing that it has that boxing doesn't have, boxing's a different sport, is that sometimes it feels kind of scary. So a guy is down on his back, another guy's on top of him. The guy on his back seems like he's kind of not, the ref has his face just looking to call it. He doesn't look like he can defend himself, and the guy gets an elbow right into his brain pan, like bam, bam, really violent. And also they choke people out, so you either tap out or you pass out. So a lot of people just pass out. So it's a pretty gnarly sport. It's definitely Roman Coliseum without the lions.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, here Chris has a question from a woman's point of view.
Well, because I used to watch UFC back when it was like Tank Abbott and the Gracies, which I think you guys are too young.
No, I wouldn't.
So
be
are they
familiar,
still doing a lot of jujitsu, or no? Is that not happening anymore?
My understanding is basically anyone doing jiu-jitsu in the UFC or across any of the fight promotions like Bellator or anything like that, they're all Gracie.
Everyone
Gracies,
is-
do you know anything about the Gracies? They were badass.
Big
and they
deal.
would just slowly just take someone down.
Yeah, and people respect that so much. The only thing is, I think the visual side of it, like a reverse turning kick or like an amazing combination, you get like a bonus if you have a really artistic knockout. Like that's how much they want it to be a spectacle, that they'll give you $75,000 if you have the best knockout of the night.
Yeah, they have knockout of the night, fight of the night. I think they still do submission of the night, because submissions can be really flashy. It's just normally it's more boring of a style when it gets to the ground.
Just to set up from a layman's point of view, the McGregor fight. So McGregor is the most famous UFC guy in the last 5-6 years. He came out brilliantly, knocked out everybody. A great stand-up puncher, and anyway, is a superstar. Then he fought a exhibition fight with Floyd Mayweather, a boxer versus UFC, but he became the boxer. He accounted himself very well, and he got $100 million. Then he started a whiskey brand called
Proper 12.
Proper 12. So he's worth hundreds of millions. Since then, and Joe Rogan said maybe he's not as good as he was. Maybe you're a little demotivated, but he's had struggles, but he still is the greatest promoter. He goes crazy promoting the fights. And this was the third fight with this guy, Dustin
Poirier.
The grudge match. They each won once. And here was McGregor, people wondering, is he on the downside, promoting it against Dustin Poirier. And then what happened?
He basically just got beat up the entire fight and then snapped his leg at the end of the first round.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of heavy trash talk before the fight, so the build-up was insane. He brought family into it, he brought wives into it, and then just as he is getting the crap knocked out of him, sadly, because I'm an Irishman, he twisted his own ankle, which looks like a break that's going to set him back months, if not years.
Well, he fractured his tibia. He had to have a 3-hour operation. It wasn't just a sprained ankle. It looked so gnarly. So the drama of it, that he was really trash-talking the guy, and the guy's getting interviewed in the center of the ring, but McGregor is just leaning up against the side of the ring with his legs splayed out, being attended to. And he's like a guy with his legs cut off or buried in sand, like a pirate yelling, because his accent was so thick, right? Can you do it? It's like, you fucking bollocks.
I'll bleed and kill you, Will. I'll bleed and get over there and I'll murder you and your wife and all that. All right?
That's exactly what it sounded like. It was the most intense. That's great. Do a little more of that. I've got your wife on direct message.
I've got your wife on direct message, you bleeding scumbag. I'll come around your house and I'll murder every single one of our kids and all that, I will.
That's great.
That's great.
So he was humiliated, sitting there, inept, impotent, like he couldn't move his legs. There's operating people around him. And he's still pissing at the wind. And then when they took him out on the stretcher, he was still pissing in the wind.
Yeah,
But
you need people like me.
Yeah. He said, say hello to the bad. Say goodbye to the bad guy.
Say goodbye to the bad guy. I'll be back. I'll be fucking back for you. Yeah, but I think
So what's your comment, Tom?
That injury can end in amputation a lot of times, too. If it doesn't take and the blood doesn't start going back into the lower part of the leg.
What Tiger Woods had 3 breaks. You don't want multiple fractures on your lower leg. It's really gnarly and very dangerous for amputation, right?
Tiger Woods' legs, I would.
But he was still fighting and screaming. He got his ass kicked, fractured his leg, and he's still trash talking on the stretcher.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Python when they
Yes, exactly.
Not a quitter.
Cut all the heads off. Because he said in his trash talk that guy will be going out on a stretcher. I'll mood you.
Yeah, the night before.
Do it in McGregor's voice.
I'm gonna send you out on the bleeding stretcher. I will, the bleeding stretcher, yeah.
And then he's
I love
on
a
the
knockabout. I do.
So, what does it make you feel about Dustin? Like, he's in his prime at 32. He looked very relaxed, very fast.
Yeah, he just kept getting better and better. Like,
Yeah.
he's just way better than he was 5 years ago. And McGregor's way worse than he was 5 years ago.
And seems to be kind of calm and zen and mature and everything. And meanwhile, Gregor's playing the WWE heel, like the wrestling. Like, he's kind of playing a character, right? But he believes it so much. I think he would maybe.
I think it's
Go all the way.
Muhammad Ali used to do this, the trash talking and do poems, and you'll go down and 8, whatever. And this is 2.0, Larry, in terms of marketing, promotion, trash talking, matching people up, grudge matches, and they're making a fortune.
And then we have to talk about Tai Tuivasa as well.
Okay, which fight was that?
The shoe kid.
Oh, all right. Just explain what he did after he won.
So he knocked out Greg Hardy, Larry, and Greg Hardy was an NFL player who got kicked out because he beat his girlfriend, I think, or something. Got caught on tape punching her, I think, something. So it was kind of interesting to see someone who's like a freak NFL level
And he was
athlete.
like 6'5", 250 coming in, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
A beast.
Huge.
And he went up against this funny, fat Australian Samoan kid.
Yeah. Who really looked like he liked his way around a buffet. It's like he was a little round.
Yeah, and so we got a round 1 knockout at 1 minute and 7 seconds into the first round. So
Yeah.
they just went at it, and then just
It is amazing when those heavyweights collide, and you can, like, they don't look super fit all the time. Some of them look
Right.
like they put on 100 pounds just to fight at that weight. You know what I mean?
But they're throwing punches. It's an advantage if you can land, and any heavyweight can knock out another heavyweight.
Yeah.
Just because of the face versus the strength they have. But so then the guy's throwing a party. He's from Samoa.
Australia.
Australia. So he's throwing a crazy party. 1 round knockout. He's going nuts. Now, me as a layman, I see him. Somehow he takes his shoe off. Someone handed him a beer. He pours beer in the shoe and then begins to drink it out of the shoe and try to get the whole audience to take off their shoes and drink beer out of their shoes, right?
Yeah.
There's 20,000 people or more.
Yeah, and then some guy put hot sauce in the shoe with the beer, and then he drank that, and then he's just people are pouring beer into his mouth from the upper stands.
I'm not sure which one of you guys said it, but when we were watching, somebody said that, oh, this is genius, this is marketing. So now 1 million people that night are going to take off their shoe and think about him and drink a beer.
It feels like there's just so much content across the board, infinite content on every single level that the people are teaching us about the robots and podcasts. They just say, marketing, you just have to. So on these fighters, they just stand out. I remember the green hair guy who led with his face. I remember the guy drinking beer out of a shoe. And I remember McGregor completely crippled on the side, still screaming like a pirate that was buried up to his waist on an island and they're rowing away.
Yeah.
Oh, you're never going to do it. It's like, it really felt like a pirate.
Yeah, and only he knows how much he believes it. Like he definitely crosses between reality and character, right? Or what do you think? Do you believe he believes it, or do you believe it's part character, part belief?
I don't know. I think does he really think he could come back, Tom? I mean,
probably 9 months of rehab at this point in time, and then, anything's possible. I think he's 32 or whatever, but I doubt it. He'll probably just focus on his successful whiskey company that's like kind of going to give Jameson a run for its money, I think, over the next 20 years. Like, he's basically competing with Jameson.
And it's called Proper 12 because his district was Dublin 12, which is a famous part of Dublin, Crumlin. And so it's got all the roots and all that good nostalgia associated with it. He's doing fine.
I've heard good
He's gonna
things
do
about
great.
the whiskey. I'll say that much. I've heard it's good.
Well, I don't drink whiskey, but Larry does. Larry, didn't you? I mean, I always think from afar, I always want boxers to retire before they just become a shell of themselves. Like, I would love Floyd Mayweather to not fight anymore and just be Floyd Mayweather. I don't want them. Sugar Ray Leonard came back, all these fighters. Muhammad Ali, if he mic dropped when he was 33 and beat up George Foreman in Africa, and he took all that punishment. So with McGregor, it's like, the guy is beloved anyway for his guts. He is worth hundreds of millions. He's got an incredible brand. Why not manage other fighters? Open up. You promote rather than you taking the punches. I'm just saying this directly to Colin, because he's a friend of mine. I just want to reach out to him.
Is he doing WWE?
Well,
doing
it's like comics.
WWE?
We can never get off stage.
I don't think I haven't seen Conor say that he's interested in WWE, but he strikes me as someone who just loves to fight. And I think he genuinely loves to fight.
He would be great at that.
Yeah, I know a few people who are like him, and I know a few people who know him, and he just likes a fight.
He should just open his own promotion, I think. McGregor Promotions was what he was trying for, I think, a few years ago.
But he loves it, like going for a run. He loves to get a few punches in the face, maybe even a knee to the chest.
Well, maybe he should fight YouTube stars, but that want to do UFC with him. He probably could still take all these YouTube stars. So I would say do that. You get the same money, less chance of getting hurt by a professional.
People would love it. Jake Paul is a guy who's calling him out. Jake Paul, or the Paul brothers. So the two biggest brothers on YouTube, called him out for 50 million. But now that he's lost that,
I love it in a way that UFC, it's just crossed over. It's really just entertainment and sport. It just got married, and it's like there's a blurred line between everything. But in the end of the day, it's a moneymaker, and it makes bloodthirsty fans happy. I mean, but Paula watched it. It is dramatic because it's not fake. People are really getting hurt, and they're really athletic, and they're getting better. So I think it's a compelling sport. So I'm going to keep watching it. I love boxing the most because I grew up with it. The sweet science. And also track and field in the Olympics is my other one. Larry, we're probably going to... Yeah?
How did he do again? You said he fought Mayweather, one of these guys?
Yeah, Conor McGregor fought Mayweather and I think they did 4.7 million pay-per-views, which is one of the biggest pay-per-views on the planet. And then McGregor's for the title fight.
How did he do?
Well,
he got knocked out in the 8th round, I think.
He counted himself pretty well. I mean, Floyd Mayweather was hyper fit. He's like the smartest, most brilliant defensive counterpuncher in history. So he, carried him. He let McGregor tire himself out. But, McGregor was not doing his thing. He was boxing. He couldn't kick him and he couldn't jump on him. So, but he made $100 million, and it brought a lot of attention to the sport and him. I mean, he's just put MMA or UFC on his back, basically promoted the hell out of it. And
you and I, we grew up with that boxing in the 70s. It was so cool.
Wide World of Sports, Muhammad Ali at 5 o'clock on a Saturday. You'd see it live with Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali, the greatest, show on earth. Tell me, champ, you took him out in round 4. Did you think it could go fast? Down goes Frazier. One the best announcer ever. Look it up, kids. Howard Cosell, Muhammad Ali.
Oh, the announcers are amazing. And to watch somebody like Conor McGregor, do you remember early on he used to pick the round and how he was going to do the killing?
Yeah, he'd do that.
So then he became known as Mystic Mac. And then he's an angry guy, so he's always the evil guy. And then his trash talk is above power.
It was so good. He had the best trash talk, yeah.
So, yeah, he's compelling. No matter what you do, you can't not want to watch what he does. So even if he came back in a wheelchair, I'd still watch. I played and come over there and I put me wheels through your fucking brain cavity, you will.
I just love the drunken Irish character of being an Moidia.
But he's kind of like, it explodes towards the end of the sentence.
I just didn't know he had the thickest accent ever when he was on that mat. But anyway, I think that any final comments, guys, for today's podcast?
The co-main event was good too. I will say just final, Stephen Thompson, Gilbert Burns, that was good. But yeah,
and the guy Sean O'Malley was fighting, I believe, maybe one of the toughest kids I've ever seen on the planet.
That would be my final words.
I would love to just
amazing.
shake that man's hand with the green hair.
Yeah.
And the work is at the paint store. I'd like to get the address of the paint store because we're doing some work on the ranch. We're going to paint some stuff. So I'd like to buy the paint from him because anyone who can take 200 right on the noggin and keep on coming, I can buy some Off-White.
Man, maybe it was high on paint fumes.
Larry, comment?
It sounds like those guys actually could jack somebody up against the wall. I don't want to mess with them.
They're every day from 2 to 4, they jack people randomly up against the wall, just dead strangers. Listen, Squirt, what are you doing? I'm just going to the Grove. Jack you up against the wall. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cave your head in.
I'm going to bleed more to you.
I'm with you. Anyway, so this has been fantastic with Dana Flarfo, Chris Rios, Tom and Frank, Carvey and Cronin, and Dex Carvey on the levers. We'll be we've made 20 pancakes, I believe. So